Welcome back to the Pretty Dumb Podcast.
where we talk about us,
You name it, we'll talk about it.
whatever it is that you guys want. You're probably not necessarily going to get, but what you do get, I will
It's
say
what we
is,
want.
yeah, what Courtney said. It's what we as artists want it to be.
Or what our brains. Was that loud?
I mean, like, honestly, it's really just whatever we came up with earlier this week. How was your week? How was it? Was everything good? I
Everything? My week
mean,
was
like,
crazy.
was it?
I did the Dose show and it was intense.
Like intense in like a really good way. Like I haven't had a chance to talk to you about any of this yet,
I
and I'm so
know.
excited.
So the show was in Bend, Oregon, which was 5+ hour drive one way. So I rode with the producer, Tyler, and his dog, Blueberry. I was so glad there was a dog there. I would have been not happy if it was only people. But yep, we drove all the way to Bend and there was a snowstorm in Bend and on the pass, like Mount Hood. So there was another person who was driving like maybe 20 minutes behind us who got stuck on the pass. So we had no idea how close we were to just being stuck. We made it. Everything was fine. We got to the show. And the other comics there have done mushrooms more. And one of them
Wow,
brought
this
their
is a
own.
mushroom show.
Yes.
Oh,
One of them brought their own mushrooms. And then everyone ate them. And I was like, oh, well, am I supposed to eat these too? And they're like, yeah, go for it. He had not coordinated with Tyler, the producer slash host of the show. The show ended up starting late. So there was no sober set. We were just high from the get go.
oh my God, wait. So did you guys do a sober set or like a quote unquote sober set and then
We
oh,
did
you
two
just
sets. They were both high.
did you like it? Did you like being high on mushrooms?
I mean, it was fun, but it was definitely like, what am I doing? Like, I had to look at my phone, like, how long have I been up here? Okay, no, that's fine. Like, it was fun, but I took a half a gram, which apparently isn't very much. But Tyler was like, I didn't want you to take so much that you freak out. And I was like, thank you. I appreciate that. So
Makes sense.
I just felt like normal high, like weed high, but with a stomach ache. So I was like, why do people
Yeah.
do this? This is stupid.
Well, I mean, like yes and no, because like if you take enough, it's like it's better than weed high
Hmm.
with a stomach ache.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get that far. So I was just like on stage, like, oh, if I shit my pants, this is gonna be bad.
Oh
But
no, did you think you would?
no, it was just like having cramps. So I was just like, all right,
Mm,
there's nothing I haven't dealt with before.
yeah, so you're
But
like totally killing it.
yeah. So it was fun. Just I don't know, but the crowd was nuts. Like a lot of them were also on mushrooms and just drinking and chatty, and the venue I guess has two different rooms where they've done comedy before. So this was the first time doing comedy in this bigger room because there's like 150 people there.
Wow.
So it's like a music venue. So a huge stage and then just a big empty warehouse, basically. And they couldn't figure out all the lights. So literally the only lights were the ones shining right at us from the stage. So just walking out there, being high already on mushrooms, the only thing you can see are these bright lights and then just people heckling like crazy, just shouting random things. I was like, oh my God, what is happening?
Did you do material or did you just like
Yeah, I did material for the first one. I like did my jokes, but also like just kept hearing people talk. So I just be like, shut up and you're freaking me out. And I kept hearing like whispering. And like the second set we came back on, Tyler asked us questions from the audience. And I kept hearing whispering in the front. So I was like yelling up there. And Tyler was like, I think you might be having auditory hallucinations. And I was like, oh, you don't say.
oh, how fun?
So it was definitely an experience, but I don't know that I would do that again, especially for a comedy show. Like, I would rather try mushrooms like I'm supposed to in like a controlled environment and just kind of see what happens. But it was a lot for, okay, now we have to be on stage. All right, what's next? Okay. So yeah.
Well, sounds like a good weekend.
Yeah. How was your weekend?
It was good. It was good. I went to Spokane, do Spokane Comedy Club, and I featured for April Macy. It was a really good show. I also did the Roastamania show there, and I got yelled at by someone in the audience because I was like making fun of Nick about working at Seattle Children's Cancer Center.
Oh no.
And I was like talking about kids with cancer, and someone was like, "That's not funny. That's not funny." And I'm like, "These kids that I'm talking about are not real. Like, I don't feel good about telling these jokes. I don't feel good about it. Okay. I would never hope that these were real stories. These are fake stories."
I hate when people show up to a roast show and are like, mm.
Oh, and people also got mad at me because like I made fun of like Lynette Manning's like body size, and
Ugh.
like it's a roast show. It's a roast show. And I didn't
Yeah.
mean any of those things, but people were like, "I can't believe you would say that." And I'm like,
It's
"I
a
don't
roast
like it
show.
either, okay?
I
I'm
mean, it's
just
like,
here to
what else are
win."
you supposed to do? Like, you're supposed to just be mean to the other person.
Yeah. And I mean, whatever. Lynette and I talked about it with her, and I was like, "I just hope you know that these aren't my actual thoughts and opinions. I just have to do this, okay?"
I mean, the same thing happened with her and Brandon White. Brandon White had a bunch of like calling her fat jokes, but like Brandon White is a very large man, and the crowd got mad at him, and he was like, "Hey, assholes, I can say this. I'm a large person. Relax. It's a roast show." I'm like, who are these
hmm
people coming to watch a roast battle? And they're like, I'm gonna be offended.
I have another roast battle with her on Saturday in Seattle, and I'm like,
You're going
"Please,
down.
I don't want to get in trouble. I'm
You
sorry."
got to be more creative with your slams then.
We'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm hoping for the best here, but it'll be good. It's gonna be a good time. I'm gonna have fun. But yeah, other than that, like the week was really good. I will say that dieting on the road is like so far from fun because I meal prepped food for every fucking night, and the
Oh
hotel that I
no.
stayed at literally was like, "We don't have microwaves and we don't have mini fridges." And I was like, "Oh, okay, I guess I can just eat these like Whole30 approved crackers and fruits and shit." And then like when I was at the club, they like you get free food, and they were like, "What do you want to eat?" And I was like, "Well, can I just have like a salad with no cheese, no dressing, no bacon?" And then they were like, "Okay, so we have like a bowl of lettuce." And I was like, "Cool, cool, cool. Can we throw some grilled chicken on there?" So literally that's what I ate like every single night that I was working the club. I had like
Ew.
a bowl of lettuce with grilled chicken, and I was like, "I guess technically I'm sustained. Like, I guess this is fine."
No, thank you.
Yeah, but I'm really proud of myself for having stuck to my diet this week. I
Good
would
job.
say, like, God hands his hardest battles to his toughest soldiers, and I was tough.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan. So, anything chopping your ass besides my diet?
um, I will say, yeah, it so we drove to Bend on Saturday and then turned right around and drove back on Sunday. And that sucks. So we were in the car for like 10 plus hours. And it took me 2 days to recover from that. I mean, part of that could have been because I was high on something I've never been high on before, but I felt like crap for 2 days straight. And I don't like it.
Mm,
I don't like it.
are you cut out to do road work, Courtney? Can you do it? Can you handle it?
I don't know. I'm trying, but it was tough. I was like, ugh. And like Tyler's really nice and he knows a lot about a lot of different stuff, but just making small talk, especially small talk with other people who are high, but like a different high than you. So a couple of comics like after the show like took Molly and stuff, and they were just in a very different place than me and wanted to like know my soul. And I was like, I ain't about this.
Oh no.
I don't want to have this disgusting small talk with you while you're feeling just all lovey-dovey, and I'm just like, the dog is like so cute. Look at him run around.
You should have just taken more mushrooms. You should have just been like, you know what, full send. I don't care.
Oh, I probably would have not been okay now. 'Cause even yesterday I was exhausted.
Oh my God. Well, okay, well, I can't wait to do this show. I'm hoping that I don't know, but I know what you're talking about because that drive home from Spokane to Seattle fucking sucked. And I
Yeah.
was also in the car for about like 10 hours total. I mean, like, granted, mine were a few days apart, but like, I was so tired like the whole time. And I drove and I was just like, I want to go home and lay down in my bed and
Hmm.
not talk to anyone. And
I
that's oh, and I
know.
wanted to eat real food really bad. So mad.
Right? Just sitting in the car, your body aches. It's like, why? All I'm doing is sitting.
I don't know what it is, but I was telling Nick, who I rode with, that it was like driving is so exhausting and it's just not fun. Like, I wish I had like the mentality of a 16-year-old when it came to driving. Like, when I was a kid, I loved driving in cars. It was so much fun. I could go anywhere and I'd be like, this is fucking awesome. Now at 30, I'm just like, I'm just gonna fly for there next time. Like, I don't
I
want to deal with all of
know.
this.
I feel like now we have a sense of mortality, and it's like, I gotta be careful. I have to pay attention now. As a kid, you're just like, it's fine. I'll get to where I'm
No.
going.
Literally, because like that's what's trapping my ass though is like my car is like getting old. I have like a 21-year-old car. It's legal to drink and it's
Too
literally
old for
leaking oil.
you.
Seriously, too young for me. But it's like it's leaking oil and I'm so tired of worrying if my car is going to break down and die. Like I don't know what's going to happen. Like the other day I put my car in reverse when I was trying to parallel park and it just turned off. And I'm like, "Oh God."
Your
Make
car's
it
like,
stop.
nah.
Yeah. My car literally said, "This is good." And I was like, "This is not good. We are literally in the middle of the road. Like, I need you to fix yourself right now. I
Oh
get your shit
no.
together." So yeah, I'm tired of worrying if my car's gonna break down and I'm not gonna be able to start it again. It's literally like an old person. It's like if it falls, like, will it get up? I don't know.
Well, are you able to think about
I
getting a
can't
new car?
afford anything. I can't afford anything. What are you, crazy? I have no job. Ha!
You got that severance.
I thought about it today. I really did. I was like, would I be willing to spend my severance to get another car? And then I just go back to the workforce sooner. But then I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. There's more to come on this saga. Okay. Like, we'll see what happens. I don't really have that many road trip gigs next month, except for like one, but I'm flying. Oh no, I do have to go drive down to Portland. I might maybe be going back to Spokane too. I'm not sure. So we'll
Mm.
see what happens. But
You could take the train
oh,
to Portland and the Bolt
ooh.
bus to Spokane.
I'm not taking a fucking bus to Spokane.
Okay.
I will do a lot of things, but I am not fucking doing that. No, no.
That's fair.
Yeah, right? Like, I don't know. I just feel like buses are something to be traveled in short distances. Like if I have to travel across the state in a bus, something has gone wrong. Like something bad has happened in my life that's taken me to this place. And it's not for me. I don't think that that's exactly what I'm ready for yet.
I saw a TikTok that this girl made, and she was on like this fancy overnight bus, and it wasn't like two seats. Each side was just one seat, and they were like kind of like pods on an airplane, but you had like curtains that separated you, and you can lay totally flat, and it's like encouraged to not talk. Like everyone's here to shush shush, no talking. And she said that it was great. So it's just like an
Okay.
overnight trip. She just got to where she needed to, and she was well rested, and yeah.
I mean, like that would be lit, but like I don't know if that's like a thing that happens here.
Yeah, I don't know where she was from, but we can look into
Yeah, no. Okay. That's not
it.
happening. That's not what's gonna happen, but thank you.
You bet.
Should we get into our topic today?
Sure. Today we're going to talk about first times.
We love a first time.
Mhm.
We love a first time for just about everything. And I have a whole list of first times and things that I have like absolutely grown to love about these first times.
Ooh,
Do you want to
okay.
go first?
Um, no, you can start it off.
Okay. So back handspringing off of your mushroom story, I am thinking about the first time that I did mushrooms. It was the best experience of my life on mushrooms. Like I've never been able to recreate that, and that's honestly fine. Me and my best friend took way too much mushrooms and we put them on a pizza, and we were like, let's just eat this pizza and these mushrooms. That way it tastes good. And we got so high. We were in Arcata, California, and we were like, let's go walk around the redwoods because we were like close to it. And so we walked into the redwoods and we were walking down this path, and this like group of women riding horses came up behind us, and they were like riding right behind us. And at the time, like we didn't think we were high. So we were like, oh yeah, like this is weird that they're just following us. In reality, we were probably already like kind of high. And we were like, you guys can pass us. And they were like, no, no, go ahead, keep going. And I was like, we have to run. So we like ran off into the woods off of the path, and we like climbed this hill that led to a man's backyard, and he
Oh,
was like
no.
back there watering his grass, and he was like, you guys need to go back the way you came. And we were like,
Damn hippies.
okay. So we like ran back to her house and we stayed there the rest of the time. Like we got one, we got back to her house, we were like, I don't think we're high yet. And so we were like, let's take more. And we were like, okay. So we took more mushrooms, and there was like a moment where I thought that I died and went to hell. And like I was like I was just laying on the bed with my eyes closed, and I thought that I was like in hell. And my best friend, I like woke up and came to, and my best friend was like brushing her teeth in a bucket at the end of the bed. And she was like, I thought you were dead. You were down there for so long. And I was like, what?
Oh my gosh. Why does she have a
It was
bucket?
She was brushing her teeth with Capri Sun in the bucket.
Okay.
And we
Ay,
had
ay, ay.
it was just so much fun. And there was like another time where like someone came into the house while we were high, and like so we both like stopped and froze. And I just remember thinking like, "Oh my God, don't move. She can't see us if we don't move." And
She's
like my
a
friend was like,
T-Rex.
"Yeah." And my friend was like, "We're high on mushrooms." And I was like, "Oh my God, I feel so much better. Thank you so much for saying something." But it was like a long trip. It lasted like 12 hours. Like I don't know
Oh,
what happened,
geez.
but we were high for so fucking long.
Oh, no, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah, I never want to do that again.
the worst part with the doing mushrooms at the show was that like because I never tried it before, I was just kind of like leaning on the other people. Like, okay, what are they doing? What are they feeling? But I took less than everyone else. So we're waiting for the show to start. We're sitting in the back, and one of the comics is like, I think it might be starting to kick in. And I was like, no, we're good. We're good. No, it's in your head. And then the other comic, they like everyone took more than me. They're both like, yeah, I think I might be feeling it. And I was trying to talk myself out of it. Like, no, it's not. This isn't it. Like, we show hasn't even started yet. And walking out on stage knowing like, oh crap, this is just gonna go. It was something.
Well, at least now you have a good like first mushroom story.
Yeah, that's basically why I did it. I was like, well, I haven't tried it for so long. I might as well do it on stage for comedy.
Yeah, let's do meth next time for comedy.
My
I
mom
think
was
that that
like,
could be fun.
my mom was like, "Are are you really doing this?" She's like, "Can't you do what the host does? Like, can't you do his job so you don't have to do the mushrooms?" I was like, "No, I chose to do this. Like, I want to do it." And she was like very worried about me. She's like, "I just don't she's like, "I just never had a great experience when I tried it." And I was like, "Oh, really? When did you try it?" And she was like, "In high school." I was like, "Okay, so 20 years younger than I am right now. I think I'll be okay."
Now you know yourself more than you do as a high school student. It is, I will say, I do highly recommend doing mushrooms to anyone who has the chance. It is definitely worth the dive to do it.
I learned some stuff about mushrooms. Like if you Tyler, so he's like in charge of the dope show, the dose show. His been a
He
drug
loves drugs.
dealer. Yeah. He knows a lot about all this stuff, but he said he recommends everyone in their life takes an eighth at least once because that's like the amount to really
Hmm.
experience mushrooms. So here we go.
You have a first?
Yeah. Um,
Okay.
well, yeah, I was looking at your list. I feel like our things are similar. Yeah, my first job. Do you remember your first job?
I do, and I hated it the entire time. What was your first job?
My first job, I was a hostess at a restaurant called Country Cousin,
Okay,
and
well, a little bit classier than mine.
I was like 16, I think, and was just a dummy. I found out that like after I started being okay at my job that people did not like me for like 6 months because I just didn't understand what I was doing, but I was just doing it.
That's how all restaurant jobs are, though. Like, that's definitely
Hmm.
a thing that happens.
Like, okay, get these children in here and we're gonna teach them how to grow up a little bit.
I mean, essentially, yeah. Like, I mean, I got my first job at a burger restaurant in Federal Way, and
Mhm.
I hated it. Like, I mean, when I first started, I was like, this is fun. I'm like working a job, but I like stayed there way too long. And by the end of it, I was like, I just like really hate smelling like French fries and burgers, and I'm tired of people yelling at me. Like when you're young, you also don't know that like people shouldn't yell at fast food workers. You're just like, oh, I guess this is just something that happens.
Yeah.
And I was so scared and timid to be like, you can't talk to me that way. Like,
Now you're like, what's up, bitch?
I mean, like if I was to work there now, I would probably kill myself. But I mean, like if I was to work there now, I probably would not be like a nice, cheerful person like I was when
Hmm.
I was like a teenager.
Yeah. I tried
But
so
like, yeah,
hard being like nice and sweet. And it's like, especially as a host, like you're the first person that people see, so you have to greet them and stuff. But then I became a busser and I was like, this is my jam. I don't have to talk to anybody. All I'm doing is cleaning stuff up. I don't have to talk to people. And I'm making tips now. I was like, yeah, this is the sweet spot. And then I became a waitress and was like, I hate everybody.
yeah, I should have just become a busser. That I feel like I would have enjoyed that so much more than having to work fast food. And it just, I mean, like the food was really good. That was also a big problem, was the food was so good that I was like
Mhm.
getting fat from like just eating there every single fucking day.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
I was
that'll
working
happen
like
though, especially if it's free or you can sneak stuff. We would do that a lot.
I snuck stuff and it was free. So like it was just like extra bad. And we had milkshakes. Like I probably had a milkshake almost every shift that I worked, like without fail.
The thing I probably would have, but our like milkshakes, we had to hand scoop the ice cream. So if anyone ever ordered a milkshake, I would just be pissed because we just digging into the freezer, like, oh, just scraping out ice cream. So that was
Oh,
never a go-to.
ours was like a soft serve machine, so it was like super easy and it was just it was so good. I I hope I never work in fast food again so I don't have to worry about being tempted
Right.
by milkshakes.
Well, the thing that I'm embarrassed about is I had this job, I became a waitress, and then I went away to college. And then after I graduated, I moved back home and then got my old waitressing job back. That was a big old
We had a nice blow to
ego
the ego.
punch. Yeah. Especially because I would see people who I like went to college with, they'd like be in town with their family, and I'd be like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. I'm such a loser. But it's hard to leave a restaurant job because you make so much money
We really
waitressing.
do.
Like I was like, I mean, it's in Centralia, so it's not like there's these crazy stores, but there was like a Coach outlet. So I would always have like Coach purses, and I'd like buy one for my mom for Mother's Day or whatever. And it's like I've still to this day I've never been as rich as I was when I was a waitress living at home with my parents.
Yeah, living at home really does change the game.
I know, and just like walking home with money every single day. It was so
What about your first time smoking weed? How was that?
nice. I don't remember.
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, I mean, I was an adult, but like I think I probably tried edibles first because smoking is just ugh, gross for me. But there are a couple times that I remember trying to smoke and they did not go well. Like
Right.
I was going to be on the dope show for the first time and I was like I can't have an edible. Like I have to smoke like so I know that it's going to work because edibles take a while to kick in. Um
Mm-hmm.
so preparing for that, I was hanging out with Luke and he was like, "Okay, here's what you do. You put your lips on it, you just inhale." And like I tried and I coughed so hard. I was like gagging, like trying not to vomit on the beach. And then I think like the next day or maybe even a separate time, he was like, "Okay, let's try it." And he like shotgunned me. So he smoked and then blew it into my mouth and just breathing in his exhaled air made me gag too. So I gagged like right in his face. I was like, "Oh God, this isn't for me."
I remember the first time I smoked weed, I was like doing it with these two guys after school. And in retrospect, like that was really stupid. Like I wish that my first time smoking weed was not with these two dipshits. Because we were just like in the woods by our school and like I remember like walking out and being like, I really want Cheetos. And I was like, I don't even think I'm high, but like I was definitely probably high. And after that, I was like, I don't think I care about smoking weed. And then I proceeded to smoke weed for the next like 7 years of my life. And I never stopped until like I had to at one point. And then now I'm just like, I don't think I could ever go back to that. Like, I don't want to be a stoner anymore. And like, that's crazy. That was a weird time in my life.
It's definitely easy to be like, "Oh, I'm hungry. I'm still hungry. There's nothing left in the fridge. Fine. I'll DoorDash and have someone bring me food."
Oh my God, you're so creative with that because when I was like living at my first place by myself, I was smoking every night and I'd be like too poor to order Uber Eats. So I would just be like, what's in my fridge and pantry right now? Like, what can I make? And like, I would just put like peanut butter on ice cream and I'd be like, yeah, that's like good enough. Like, I can eat this. Or, and actually, my roommate always had like frozen foods because this bitch literally never cooked. And we would just make like frozen chicken nuggets and French fries like
Oh,
all the time. And it was just so unhealthy. I can't believe I used to live like an animal like that.
yeah. I mean, my HelloFresh joke is true about like smoke. Like, well, I would have an edible and then, like, okay, I need to start cooking this now and just try to make sure I have food ready by the time this high kicks in. So, like, halfway through making the meal, I'm like, "Oh my God, I didn't time it right." Just in the
Mhm.
kitchen, like, what do I do? But it's fun. It's a fun game. I
It's
do
a fun
remember
game.
I did remember the first time that I tried weed. I was going on a family vacation and I don't know where I got it, but I had a bunch of like edible candies, like chocolate and caramel and different things like that. So it just looked like regular candy. So I flew meeting my family in Colorado or something. And then like this is when my parents were not sober and I knew that my dad was like kind of into weed and I knew my brother was. So I was like, "Oh, we'll all like we can all have this together." And so I just remember sitting around the campfire just like sharing all of my edibles with my family.
No.
I mean, they knew what was in it,
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
but I don't actually remember feeling anything from it. I think I was too timid, so I only had like a little piece. But I just remember my dad being like, "You flew with this? That could have been a felony." And I was like, "Are you proud?"
I'm
And
sure he was. He was very proud of you in that moment.
And now they're sober, so I just have fun by myself. Going back.
Anyways, so moving forward to the next thing on my list is first time doing a club gig. It was
Ooh.
at Laughs Comedy Club, and I thought I was gonna make so much money doing comedy because I got
It
paid to do like a one-off show,
was
and
like
I
a
did my
Thursday show, right?
yeah, and it was like my first 10 minutes ever, and I was like, this is gonna be so great. And I made like $100 for 10 minutes, and I was like, wow, that's like $10 a minute. Is this what life is like as a comedian? I'm gonna make so much money. It's gonna be so awesome. And then I quickly learned, no, that's not how this works at all. That
Dude,
was just luck.
I did that same show and I think there was like 8 or 10 people in the audience. I think I made maybe $15.
Yeah, that was what a
My
weird night.
parents came all the way from Chehalis. I
Did
was
they
like,
really?
thank you so much for coming.
He made $15.
Mhm.
Yeah,
What about
because
your
back then they
first?
were paying
Mm-hmm.
what? They were paying like by like the seat, right? Like how many
Mm-hmm.
tickets it sold. Yeah, they don't do that anymore.
No.
It's okay. It's fine.
Do you remember your first weekend at a club?
My first weekend at a club was with Joe. So I didn't know, like, I just was like, oh yeah, like I get to do a weekend. This is really exciting. I've never done this before. I didn't know that Tacoma Comedy Club was like watching me and they were like trying to decide whether or not I was going to get booked there more. But thankfully, I did well
Mm.
enough. And like I remember after like they had gotten my avails, like Quentin Jones was like, "Hey, just so you know, like they're totally watching you." Or he had told me, he was like, "Yeah, I didn't want to tell you, but they were totally watching you." Like, and I was like, just too stupid to know that that was what was happening.
Hmm.
But like it ended up working out. So now whenever I work a new club, I always think about that and I'm like, okay, they're definitely watching. Hopefully they like me and hopefully I get to come back. And
Nice.
so far, not a lot of places has asked me to come back yet. A
Shut
couple
up.
places have, but I've never been formally invited, which is fine.
My first weekend at a club was hosting at the Underground, like the first weekend in March of 2020. So one of
Oh,
their
so things
last
were great. Yeah.
shows ever. So, yeah, I mean, we didn't know that anything really bad was about to happen. Like I remember it was when people were crazily buying toilet paper. So I made a joke about like, don't steal our toilet paper. We need that. And just thinking like, oh, this is crazy. It'll be over soon. And yeah, never
And then
again.
it wasn't. I remember the
R.I.P.
first
Underground.
time I remember the first time I did a mic when like COVID was like happening. And I remember like me and all the other comics were standing in the back. This was when Club Comedy was at its old spot. And we were all like, the audience is like really light. It's super weird that there's like no one here. Like, this is crazy how serious people are taking COVID. And then I think it was like a week later that they were like, yeah, so like nothing's open,
Ooh,
just so you know.
oopsies.
Yeah. And I was like, ooh, okay, I've just been out doing things that I probably shouldn't have been doing.
Ooh, my bad. My first ever open mic was also at the Underground. I had taken a comedy class, so I had written some jokes already and stuff, but it took me a couple weeks to like feel comfortable going back and like trying open mics. So I went to the Underground just to watch one night. Me and my friend Jared went, and Quentin Jones was working the door, and he was like, "Oh, are you gonna go get up tonight?" And I was like, "No, I'm just here to watch." And he was like, "Well, you brought a friend, so if you want to get up, you can." And I was like, "No, I'm not ready." So we just watched that night, and I was like very cautious of everything. I was like, "Okay, so that's where the light is. This is this. This is what this means. Move the mic stand," just like overly preparing. And then the next week, I was like, "I'm probably not going to get on. It's a whole big list. People get cut all the time." But I did get put on, and I was like, ah. I, there was this dude there. I forgot his name, but I was convinced that we had gone on a date. So my very first open mic, anywhere, I was like, hey, I know you. I think we went to a Mariners game together. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, your name's, I forgot his name, Michael, right? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, we went to a Mariners game. I like described the whole thing to him. And he's like, I don't think that's me. And I was like, no, I have you in my phone. And I showed it to him. And he was like, that's not my last name. And I was like, okay, bye.
This wasn't while you were on stage, was it?
No, it was before going up. So I had completely
Oh, so you
embarrassed
were.
myself enough to be like, well, can't get much worse.
Maybe that's what everyone needs. Everyone needs like a little embarrassing moment before they go on stage, so that way they can be like, you know what?
Hey, I just
Who
survived that.
cares? Nothing else matters.
It was pretty funny though, because I talked to him later. I saw him again like several months later. He's like, yeah, you were just like straight up gaslighting me. Like, yeah, no, this is how it was. We've dated. And I was like, I'm so sorry.
I mean,
But
that's
also,
embarrassing,
like,
but
good for you, girl. You got that power. Listen, you don't
but you know
remember
what?
me?
Confidence is key here. That's what I've just learned from this huge takeaway is confidence is
Mm-hmm.
key.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of first,
Wait, do you remember
speaking of
your first
dating,
open mic?
yeah, it was at Laughs and I did what I was supposed to do. Looking back at this, I just like I know now like what should have happened and what didn't happen. I was told to bring a bunch of people. Dave did not put me on the fucking list. Put me at the very, 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 very end. I brought like 12 friends to come hang out. And like, I mean, I did well, right? But like, well for an open micer.
You don't think they put you last because you brought a bunch of people?
I wasn't even on the list.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I wasn't even on the list. And Dave was like, "Don't worry, we'll get you up." And I was like,
Hmm.
"Okay." And I was like, "I don't know. Is this how it's supposed to work?
Right.
Maybe."
I do
But
feel bad for people who bring people because if you bring a bunch of people, you're going last because the people who make the list are like, well, if we put this person up in the middle or in the beginning, they're gonna leave. All their audience is gonna leave. So you're just stuck sitting through a whole open mic.
I mean, that's true. I do remember like our I had someone else had a similar experience. One of our friends, Malin, had the same experience and she left. She took all of her people and she left. She was like, I'm
Ouch.
not waiting here for you to like throw me up when I'm not even on the list. And
Yeah.
like she just left. And like if I could go back in time, I probably would have done the same thing. I would have been
Just
like,
take the whole
mm-mm.
crowd. Goodbye.
Yeah, I would have been like, yeah, bye. Thank you. Thanks for your time. See you later.
I'll just go do this right outside on the sidewalk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, open mics are fun. We love doing the open mics.
Oh yeah.
Never
Right.
stop doing them.
What else you got?
Okay, I think this will be my last one. My first time having sex, like penetrative sex, is not something I would recommend doing again. Like if I had the chance to recreate my first time having sex, like I don't think I would do it because I had sex in a Las Vegas bathroom at a hotel with a college swimmer, and that was truly horrifying. Like we didn't even have lube, we just used
Oh
lotion.
no.
Yeah,
Oh.
we use lotion and a condom, and like I don't think I would ever do that again. Like that was not fun all around, and I didn't like it. And I will tell you right now, lotion is not lubricant. So please don't try and do that again to anyone. Like never, no one try and recreate that moment. It's not worth it. It's actually really stupid, so don't do it.
Ouch. Do you wish you would have lost your virginity sooner or to someone who you
Yeah.
cared about more?
I wish that I would have just lost my virginity sooner because like I was waiting for love and then I was like, love isn't a thing. Like that's so stupid. I'm not doing this anymore. And I just got tired of waiting around. So I like just that's how I lost it. And I wish to God I would have just like hoed off to someone else like when I was a teenager. So then I could just be like, oh yeah, like this is totally fine and normal. And
No big
like I
deal.
should just be having a ton of sex all the time. And I don't know. I feel like I would have gotten my hoe phase out way sooner if I had just done that. I don't know why I didn't just fucking do that from the get-go.
Yeah. I mean, it's scary. I wasn't ready the first time I had sex. I was like I was in a relationship and I was basically trying to make him happy. So I was like, fine. But I think we were at his friend's house, like in his friend's room, while all of his friends are like outside playing basketball or something. It was just like, okay, here we go. We're going to go do this thing. And then he broke up with me like the next day and tried to
Oh,
date my friend. And then we got back together because I was a freaking idiot. But yeah, I did
we were
not
just
enjoy my
young.
first
We
time.
were young. We didn't know any
Yep.
better. We just thought that that's how like we were supposed to be treated by men.
And like still like my brain can't separate like sex and love. So I will get feelings for someone if we're intimate. So yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
you just have to sleep with like 60 guys. Because once you've like hit that 60, you're fine.
that's the
Everything's
magic
okay after
number.
that. I think so. I think it was
Okay,
about
okay.
60 for me. And then I was like, oh, like all of these men are objects. Like,
Gotta flip it.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
how you
didn't,
do it.
after my first boyfriend, I didn't sleep with anyone for like a few years. So it wasn't until I was like
Wow.
in my last year at college and I was like, all right, what's up? But it's still, I didn't have a hoe phase really until like after college.
My whole phase only lasted like 4 years. So that's the span of college. Yeah, you should have just done it in
That's
college.
great.
You should have done it a
Perfect.
lot.
I'm a late bloomer.
That's okay. Now, would you go back in time and have sex more?
I mean, yeah, there are a few people I would not have had sex with.
Oh, same. 100%. There's a lot of guys I wouldn't have
Like, what
had
the
sex with.
fuck were you thinking, you dummy?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, there are others that I just would have been like, yep, let's do it. Like, I don't have to like you. You can just be attractive.
There was a time I got my one of my straight friend was like interested in hooking up with me because he was like, I've never been with a guy. And at the
Straight
time
friend.
I was like, oh, well, like I find you extremely attractive, but I have a crush on this other person right now, and I don't think I should do this. And if I could go back in time, I would have rode John's dick into the sunset because like John was so fucking hot. He was really dumb and honestly like a total fuckboy and piece of shit, but like I would have fucking sucked him dry. Like I wish that I had. And sometimes you just can't get moments back. You know what? That's my advice for today. If you guys have learned anything from listening to this, fuck the dude who is stupid and hot and a piece of shit. Just fuck him once so that way you don't grow up and regret it.
Yep, just get a little confidence. You don't have to love them. Just have fun.
Yeah. Because he'll like that like you might not like yourself a little bit, but at the end of the day you'll be like, you know what? I'm glad I fucked that hot dude.
Yep, it's one to
Oh,
remember.
do you have any other first you want to bring up before we move on to what we learned?
Nope, sure don't.
Okay, this week I learned on the subject of trying new things and first, um, it is a great way to build confidence. Your brain literally tells you after you try something new that you can keep trying new things and it builds your confidence into doing more. So I say that you have to do a lot of things. So I'm planning to do a lot more things this year for the first time. I don't know what they are yet, but I'm going to do them.
Ooh, yes, like
Did you learn
snorkeling.
anything?
You want to go snorkeling?
I've already snorkeled and I don't really care
Oh.
for it.
Let's see. I learned that is a very specific niche thing that I learned. Um, if you've never bought a home before, you can get a first time home buyer's loan, which
Mhm.
apparently it's very, very low interest. And yeah, I don't know much about the economy or like inflation, but I guess if you would have bought a house 10 years ago, instead of just having money in your savings, the savings would have gone up like $7,000, but the house that you owned would have gone up like hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I understand why people want to own property now.
Are you serious? You didn't know that
No.
homes or that's the reason why people buy homes is so that they can build wealth?
No, because I just figure like, okay, now I'm just paying rent to this apartment building, but like if anything breaks, they have to pay for it. If anything goes wrong, they have to fix it. Like it's not coming out of my pocket. And I'm just like, oh, if you buy a house, everything that goes wrong is also coming out of your pocket, but also you're getting a loan from the bank. So you don't even own the house. You're just borrowing it from the bank. And like eventually you're going to want to sell this house and then you have to do the same thing. You're just always in debt to the bank. But I guess
Yeah.
it makes a little more sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everything is
People
still,
sell it for more than what
yeah.
they borrow.
Unless there's a big crash like in 2008 when they gave out all these loans to everybody and then we're like, haha, just kidding, now you're poor.
Hmm. Well, yeah, but like if in theory you would still own the home, like or like have it in your name and it would go back up in value. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're not smart enough to talk about these things.
Nope. But yep, I learned that maybe it's a good idea instead of keeping money in savings to actually put it in property.
It's expensive. Okay, wait. Where can people find you this week?
This week I will be at Central Cinema on Thursday. That's in Seattle. Casey McLean is headlining and Lynette Manning is featuring. It's gonna be a fun show. And then Friday I'm doing a Galentine's show. What's it called? Hype Girls. And that's in Seattle. I think it's in like Pioneer Square. And
Okay, work.
then Saturday I'm doing a Joke Masters show at the 2 Mile House pub in Olympia.
Okay, work.
Yeah. Where are
I
you
will
gonna be?
be I will be at Greenwood doing the Rosamania show. I don't know the address.
It's at the
And
Halcyon.
yeah, maybe on Saturday I'm doing that. And
Mm-hmm.
then on Sunday I'll be at Tacoma Comedy Club hosting or no, doing a showcase for Katie Thurston, who was on The Bachelor. And then
Yep.
the
She's gonna
next
be our
week I'll
new
be at
bestie.
absolutely.
Let's get her
That's
on
all the
this
shows that I have this
podcast.
week. We'll see what we can do. Yeah, let's see. Let's see if we can make it
We'll
happen.
show her this gold and be like, don't you want to be a part of
Should we like I was on The Bachelor.
this?
The Bachelor is only taking you places to this podcast. That's where this is going.
And you do not get paid. Sorry.
But thanks for your time.
Hell yeah, that'll be fun though.
It should be. We'll see how it goes, but I don't know. I'll have
Awesome.
more to report next week and we'll see what happens. But anyways,
Perfect.
okay, I have to go, everyone, because I have to go tinkle
Bye.
so bad. I've had to pee for like 20 minutes.
All right. Well, thanks for watching slash listening.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.